Quite the cat, Rocky. You are. Are you ready for your treats? Hey, we give you your treats? Yeah? Listen to the purring. You're very purry and furry. You are. All right, then. Let's have a look and see. You know what we got? We got the greenies. We give you your greenies. And we'll give you your chicken treats, too, eh? We'll give you your greenies first. Because that's the order of operations, you know. It is. Okay, now. 4 greenies for Rocky. There you go, my friend. There they are. Those are your greenies. Now we'll give you your chicken treats. He always gets really excited about his chicken treats. Him loves him's chicken treats. You do, don't you? He does. Oh, all right, then. There you go. There's your chicken treats. Yep, there's his chicken party mix. All right. Well, I got to get ready to go outside. We're leaving to go look at the truck at 12:30. We should be there by 1:30. And I should know later this afternoon what we're doing. I should then. Hey, you're a beautiful cat. You are. You're very beautiful. I love you. Do you know I love you? Are you aware of my great love for you? Hey, I think you're wonderful. Anyway, I got to put on my shoes. I got to slice up some potatoes because I've decided now that I have potatoes again, I bought some yesterday, that I'm going to have French fries for lunch. And then after lunch, well, what time is it now? It's now 10:30, so I got a couple hours. So I'm going to slice up some French fries and make them. Ooh, look at that shadow. That's kind of creepy looking. Looks a bit like a spider. Ooh, look at that, eh? Whoa. Anyway, enough of that foolishness. I say, oh my goodness. Okay, we do have fun here at Camp Crazy. Yeah, we leave at 12:30. We'll be there at 1:30. I'll let you know later this afternoon how I made out. If I do buy this thing, it's going to take most of my savings. And I figured out what the sales tax will be, and that'll take most of what's left. So, and then, of course, it still has to be safetied and plated and on all that. So, it's going to be, I'm going to be cutting things pretty close. But my main concern with this truck is the transmission, because these trucks are known to have some transmission issues. And it's got 180-some thousand miles on it. It's like 300,000 kilometers, which is 180-something. I can't remember exactly now, miles. So I'm a little concerned about the transmission. I'm definitely going to be checking the transmission fluid. And I'm hoping to take it for a drive so that I can actually see how it shifts and everything. I don't know if it's plated and insured anymore or whatever. I don't know. He's got it at his cabin. So I don't know. He lives in Kingston, and he's got it at his cabin in the country, so I just don't know. But there are certain ways you can tell even without driving them, and I'm definitely going to be looking for signs of transmission problems, because that's the one weakness those trucks do. Well, they have 2 weaknesses, rust and transmission issues. Now, the body itself, the outer body, looks good. You hardly ever see one that looks that good. It's a 1999 Dodge 1500. It's got a 318 engine in it, and the 318 engine is pretty much bulletproof. So I'm not too worried about the engine. The engine will go forever. But the transmission is a concern. And I'm not worried about body rust, because the body looks good. I will be checking the undercarriage out, though, pretty thoroughly. Sometimes the body of a vehicle will look really good, and you get underneath it, and it'll just be completely gone, you know. or it'll have major structural problems or whatever. So that's something I have to look at. Anyway, those are my two big concerns, is the undercarriage and the transmission. I'm not worried about the engine or the axle or the body, and I'm not too worried about major problems with brakes and suspension and whatnot. Those can all be addressed if there are any. But I am concerned about the underbody and the transmission. Those would be my two things that I'll focus on the most. It's funny, years and years ago, I owned a 1971 Dodge Polara, big green sedan, and it had a 318 in it. And when I bought that car, it had only 28,000 miles on it. And I bought the car, I think, in 1984, 85, somewhere in there. Oh, maybe 86. I think it was 86 that I bought that car, now that I think about it, because I had already owned a couple of cars. And I gotten rid of the one car I owned because it just rusted out and deteriorated. And the next car I owned I got rid of just because I just decided I wanted something different. It was a good car, and I got rid of it, and I kind of regretted it afterwards. It was a 1967 Chev Bel Air sedan. A very basic car, but tough car. And I got rid of that. I sold that to somebody. And then I bought this 71 Dodge Polara. And I remember the old fella I bought it from hated to drive. He was known to be somebody who hated to drive, and he had owned it since 1974. And he just hated to drive anyway. He would actually walk to the grocery store, leave the car in the driveway, walk to the grocery store, and lug his groceries home, rather than to take the car. Even as an old man, he'd do that. And the funny thing is, well, not that it's really funny, but it's weird. And I often wonder if he didn't kind of know something, or if he didn't have a feeling about something. He was killed in a horrific car accident about 4 or 5 years after I bought that car from him. He bought a 78 Mercury Cougar to replace that car that I bought, the 71 Dodge. And he was killed in a really bad car accident. He got T-boned by a Ford F-150 pickup truck in 1990. Bent his Mercury Cougar up like a horseshoe. He was actually up against the inside of the passenger's door. It had just pushed him right across to the other side of the car. I was driving a taxi at the time, and I came across the accident. And that's something, I'm not going to describe it to you, but suffice it to say, that's the stuff of nightmares. And this is a man I knew. So, seeing him like that was pretty tough anyway. And I actually liked the old guy. He was kind of a grumpy old guy, but I actually liked him. When I bought the car from him in 1986, I was 18 years old, and he made me show him my driver's license to prove that I was old enough to buy the car, because I'd have to be 16 at least to buy the car. And he made me prove that I was old enough to buy the car. I remember that. He wanted $600 for it, and I talked him down to $400. Anyway, it had a 318 in it. Bulletproof. I'll tell you, that was a great engine. I ended up selling that car eventually too, and the guy that bought it from me, he drove it for years after